one thing is we have in common: a pathological hatred for Nigeria. I cannot begin to put into words how much I hate Nigeria. People don't understand it. I despise it. With every drop of blood in my body, I will walk towards the total dismemberment of that zoo. That by the time we finish, Nigeria will no longer exist. That name, we wave goodbye to it. The same way Yugoslavia is gone, that Soviet Union is gone, that same way will the word Nigeria be obliterated from history books. Nigeria is a reminder that black people are stupid and foolish. Nigeria is a reminder that colonial mentality actually seeped into our bone marrows. As somebody reminded us this morning, when somebody from Nigeria pays and says, "Oh, God bless Nigeria," you are making a mockery of God. God can only bless something that is created. I learned that this morning. God did not create the zoo. Therefore, there is no way God can bless it. It's impossible. Impossible. That hopeless entity that people today say they are very proud to belong to was created by a white man. His name is Frederick Lugard. This man is not from Biafra land. This man is not. But there are some people from Black Africa who are willing to go to war to defend what a white man created. A white man did. You asked the white man left and went back, but you retained every vestige of subjugation left in the hands of the tyrannic, those who can read and write, claiming they are PhD holders, but lack rudimentary. What I call. They don't understand how to structure a society. Our forefathers were better political thinkers and philosophers more than the fools. They couldn't have come up in case of Kukwaya. Never in their lives. Instead, what they did was to surround themselves with the military and the police. Instead, what they did is to ensure the subjugation of their own people by bringing money up. Wrong with the black person reading? Sometimes I wonder. I don't think so, in my opinion. There is no need, there is no reason why they got independence from a country where the police do not carry guns on the street. Upon becoming independent, this band of vandals and animals created a police force. A police should be a civil service, not a force. It's civilian. They created a police force. They created mobile police, the riot police. They created the army. They created the navy. They created everything you can think about, the Air Force. They created all this rubbish in order to perpetuate themselves in power, in order to continue lying to you, in order for them to master everything that is to do with violence, to kill you and to subjugate you. The white man came, turned us into slaves, subjugated us. Well, even the dry bones in the graves are beginning to shake. They know the time has come. It's a shame that some people who are still living don't understand that, especially Igbo traders in Lagos. They say to go. Nadator is the first phase of this very deadly salvo. They will destroy your business. After that, they will take over your houses. When I make even the dry bones in the graves are beginning to shake. They know the time has come. It's a shame that some people who are still living don't understand that, especially Igbo traders in Lagos. They say to go. Nadator is the first phase of this very deadly salvo. They will destroy your business. After that, they will take over your houses. When I make for them, Even the dry bones in the graves that are beginning to shake. They know the time has come. It's a shame that some people who are still living don't understand that, especially Igbo traders in Lagos. Let's let go. Nagato is the first phase of this very deadly salvo. They will destroy your business. After that, they will take over your houses. When I make way from both.
If we abandon Chukwukika Biama in truth and honesty, please goodbye to Biafra. Biafra can have in the pure years. You'll be only running around in circles. You can never come. It is the kingdom of heaven itself. You want to do something that is happening in heaven, on earth, for mankind to see and testify to the goodness of the Lord. You have to be of good courage. You have to be without fear in the face of your enemies. If you are without fear before your enemies will run from you. Rather than you running from them, your enemies will run from you. If you speak the truth always, regardless of the consequences, lies will run from you. You must protect those who cannot protect themselves, not to steal from them. I repeat, it is your job as a child of heaven, IPOB family member, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is your job. Not to kidnap them, not to rob them. You must be of good conduct that Chukwu Okike Abia left. If these conditions are not in place, Biafra will not come. Biafra ga-abịa. Anaghị akabịa na dibịa. Anaghị agwọta n'ọgwụ. Going to a native doctor, dibịa anya nzu cannot save you. If you want Biafra, anaghị emete. The worst mistake Buhari ever made was to arrest him. The worst mistake ever. What is going to happen? I am taking IPOB to Abuja on the 17th of next month for my court case.
We are with you, sir. We are with you.
There will be 2 million people in Abuja.
Yes. I will be there.
I will be there.
I will be there with you, sir.
I will be there. Hey, we take the battle to our enemies.
Yes, sir.
All right. Please let me know if you can hear me, please. I don't know why you were not hearing me initially, so I had to refresh. Please let me know if you can hear me. Today is a special day, and the day Chukwukike has made for us all to be glad and rejoice in. So please let me know if you can hear me, please, so that I can continue. I want to be sure that you can hear me. I said some very crucial and important things, and it's on here. Okay, thank you so much. I don't know why that could happen. I want to welcome you all from wherever you're watching today. Thank you so much, Adaza, and thank you so much, Ego. Thank you. I appreciate you for joining. Good to have you here as always. Today is the third week of June 2023, and we're all here, we're all alive, we're all strong. And I want to thank you for joining wherever you're watching from. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be a wonderful broadcast today. I tell you, there'll be lots of things that will be said here, inspired by Chukwukike. I always submit myself into his hands to lead me on the things to say. I don't come here to show my skill or to say the things I want to say, but I always subject. Anytime I want to come on, I just look at the laptop, I just open it, and then I just open it and then edit. And then suddenly the topic comes and he leads me into what I have to speak about. And that is why it is a hallowed platform where we depend on Chukwukike. That is the same way Biafra is going to come. I want to welcome those ones who are not happy, those who are lovers of freedom but not happy, getting frustrated, getting weak in their minds, getting weak in their bodies, getting weak in their soul realm or the mind also, and all of that, and feeling down and out based on the things that are happening. I want to tell you that it is all for the good of what God is going to do. According to the order of Romans chapter 8, he said, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called unto his purpose. Now, I want you to understand that he is the Alpha of Biafra, so which means he's going to Omega it. That means he begins it and he's going to end it. God does not, begin something he cannot end, or begin something and don't end it. And he doesn't end what he began, what he does not begin. So if Nigeria was begun by Britain, it will end because God didn't begin it. Ending has to be purposeful achievement. And so Nigeria is going to crash, And as you heard from the initial audio I played, Mazen and the Kanu talking about the things that are happening in Lagos and prophesying that they are going to take over your businesses and then later they're going to take over your houses. These are prophetic utterances that our people have taken for granted. But before we go into this critically, I want to say welcome to this broadcast. This is Biafra Global Network. My name is Kelechi Ambrose. I'm your host, and of course, we're going to be going through all this together and navigate this whole thing to see that we meet up with the concept and the mind that God has put in us regarding Biafra for the understanding and for the purposeful achievement of Biafra. I'm going to be looking critically on understanding why we're going through what we're going through. We have understanding is factual in the context of achieving purpose. And if you want to understand anything, then you must understand why. And the problem we have is that we're always, hey, what is happening? But we're not thinking of why they're happening. And the reason why we keep getting weak in our minds, defeated sometimes, troubled sometimes, and especially very frustrated. I wish you a happy Father's Day. Thank you, Ma. Why I'm laughing is I don't know if Father's Day and Mother's Day is, I don't know how many times it is celebrated in a year. Almost every time I see, it seems it happens every month. I don't know. 3 times, Mother's Day too. And so I don't know. It's sometimes when I see Mother's Day or Father's Day, I begin to wonder: is it the first one for the year, or is it just once a year, or several? When you talk about a father, you talk about a mother, you are talking about source. So it's very fundamental to celebrate source, and I appreciate. Thank you so much, Madam. I appreciate you so much, and I want to thank all parents, all fathers out there. At the same time, when we talk about fathers, we're also talking about mothers, because the man, so they're fundamentally the same. It's the first day of a new week, and I want you to be grateful to Chukwukike, who has given us the opportunity to be here. Now, things are happening, terrible things happening, and things that are making us feel sad, weak, and demolished, people being sent into their early graves and all of that. When you join the club, you will know. Hey, so when I join the club, I'll know. Oh my. But I'm a father anyways, so definitely I know. All right, so now you have to understand that the things that are happening are not because there's no reason for them. You see, we are going to be looking at all of this stuff. Now, I want you to understand also, sometimes we create problems for ourselves when we begin to deny the reason and purpose for a thing. Fundamentally, denying purpose is looking at the characteristics of what you are searching for, or the idiosyncratic nature of what you are seeking, and denying what you are seeking. Now, I want you to understand this in the context, because I'm going to try to make this very simple today so that people can understand, especially those who are not, who understands other languages better than English. I'm not saying you're not smart or so, but sometimes people understand other languages. Understanding English does not make you smart or intelligent or whatever. We have professors, academias, and all of that in the zoo who are so daft and so foolish. They are not intellectuals. They're only academic people, going around with their files and portfolio of academic achievements, and yet having no intellectual capacity to reason through and utilizing the academic knowledge they have gained from other people's intellectual property, and then they can't apply these things to their self, to their lives, to their environment, to the nation, to the world. They are just occupying space, narrating and expressing academic programs, academic details. Look at Emefiele, the CBN governor. These are people like Wale Soyinka, people like and all these guys who display academic prowess, everywhere, but they are intellectually stunted and stunted in growth intellectually, and intellectually a waste to this generation, has messed up their generations, have destroyed the narrative of what could have been productive about their generation, and are constituting nuisance in the current generation, messing up things and occupying spaces they are not supposed to occupy, and causing so much harm in the very fabric of human existence, being a waste to humanity and signifying nothing. These are people, very terrible people, who go around. All they do is they brandish their academic qualifications. They just want to tell you how academic wise they have achieved so many things. They always want to tell you about the school they attended. They always want to tell you about the places they have been to. They want to tell you how they travel all the nations of the world. They want to tell you about the things they have gotten academically. They are all there in Biafra land, all over the place, everywhere, moving around and constituting nuisance, forming clubs and dancing in shows, and being all over the nations of the world, in Biafra land and also in diaspora of Biafra heritage. Yet, and they are constituting nuisance, messing this generation up, forcing these people not to enter into the promised land, and standing on the door, refusing to go in, and yet refusing those people also to enter, refusing the people to enter. These are terrible people, and we have to begin to understand this. Except we begin to pull and uproot these kinds of people out of our midst, we are going to keep suffering and getting the delays that we're having. Now, that is why we're going to go deep into what we're going to be talking about today, in understanding why we go through the things we go through, and why we are still stuck, and we are still trying to force our way through, and trying to get ourselves out of this mess. We're in a deep mess if you don't understand it. But if you understand why we are in the mess, then you will do something about the mess, because the mess that we are in is human design. It's a human design. It's constructed by human, behavior and human restrictions. And when I say human, I'm talking about us, as beings, and we're human beings. But even if sometimes we display the level of arrogance and stupidity that takes us from that humane aspect of us, or that human aspect of us, to become something less than whatever become something very difficult and very dangerous to the context of humanity and the context of global existence. We have seen so many things happen all over the nations of the world in in centuries gone and in centuries that have gone by, and so many terrible things where human beings have caused devastation to even the universe, to Earth. The reason why you have the Noah story today is because human beings just had a terrible, just displayed their stupidity to the point where they became a devastating destruction, and humanity was destroyed. And the rains came, and Noah had to take some few people into the ark and the animals into the ark, and that saved some stuff. But you know that most of the things, in fact, basically everything that goes wrong on earth is designed by humans. Everything that happens and goes wrong on earth is created and designed by humans. Everything that goes wrong is instituted, initiated, and assessed by humans. So humans have fundamentally been the major problem of creation. Because you know why? We have ability, we are given the ability to reason, intellectual ability. Animals are not doing all of that because they are not given intellectual ability. So they live in their domain, they live in the sphere of their location, in the way they live by instinct. They carry out the activities, and the cycle, the cycle, not circle, the cycle continues. But for humans, we begin to destroy things because we have lost the ability to utilize our intellectual faculty in the right dimension and in the right behavior. So we create things without looking at the consequences. And even when we know the consequences, we go all out because of our selfishness. The other time I told you guys I'm going to play a particular video where the Nigeria medical industry, or let me call it the sector, let me call it sector anyways, because it has become industry, where business, it has become an industry. The Nigeria sector, the medical sector, has become an industry where people can come and buy the whole place, buy the whole stuff, and begin to use it as a means of killing the people slowly, killing the people, and doing great harm to humanity. And I'm going to be one of those people, one of the people who was in that meeting where people like Bill Gates came and bought over the health sector and turned it to industry in Nigeria. They turned the health sector to industry. They turned it to industry. Chain reaction. Thank you so much, Ego there. That's what it is. Human-made errors. Human beings have become so horrible that they tend to think that to think that they can do what they have to do, and they are going to have a lot of time to enjoy what they do, not knowing, and even if they know, not understanding the details of the short transient life that we have. And so we tend to become problems to the next generation. It reminds me of a story in 2 Kings, where Hezekiah said, when Hezekiah messed up, opened the temple and showed the vessels to the Babylonians. And then the prophet came to him, Samuel, and said, "What have you done?" He said, "I took them around. I showed them everywhere. I showed them." He said, "Why do you show them everywhere? You have caused great harm. They're going to come here and they're going to take everything that belongs to this place. But it's going to be after your time." And you know what Hezekiah said? He said, "Thank God, though, at least the devastation will not come in my time. It will come in the next generation." Now, you see, humanity have this side that is so destructive and selfish that if we don't begin to do the right thing right now, we are going to get ourselves in a mess. The reason why you see Biafra delayed and as if denied is because there is something we are doing wrong, and that we're going to talk about today. Thank you so much. Comrade, thank you. Good day from my location, Comrade Kelechi. Thank you so much, Comrade Ken. I appreciate you being here. Great talk, dear brother. Thank you, Ego. Yeah, we have to talk. We have to talk these things. We have to talk the talk. We have to jaw here so that we can get ourselves out. Thank you so much, Ego. Thank you. Great nuggets. Please listen carefully, because we want to treat things, we want to deal with things the way we want to deal with them, so that we can look at things constructively. We have been looking at what today everywhere in Biafra. I've been looking all over. You see, when things happen in Biafra land and all of that, sometimes I don't want to type and respond. When Simon does all those shenanigans, sometimes I don't want to type and respond because I think it seems I'm bringing myself too low to begin to discuss him. Yes, of course, we have to reveal some of these evils that he's doing, but coming to analyze him, to give you all my time, I can mention him in broadcast here. But my concern is to teach the people to understand what we need to do to get free, because Simon is not at all any threat to the existence of Biafra or the you know why? Because he is inconsequential. If he likes, let him commit the whole crime. He's so inconsequential that he cannot stop Biafra from coming. All he's going to do is destroy himself. He cannot stop Biafra from coming. So he's too small, and that is why I cannot give him that full time to discuss him every time. We've discussed him fully the other times to give a typical knowledge to this effect of what he's doing, so that people can see the effect, which of course we shall continue to reveal. But I want to give more time to teachings, because teachings are factual. Then along the line of my teachings, when I give you an information from the shenanigans of these evil people like Simon and Co., you will come to understand, appreciate it better. Because the reason why our people begin to go after, when you talk about evils, they begin to fight it, is because they have not even understood what the truth is, the why of things. All they do is what is happening. Hey, today, the liaison office have been opened. Oh, what has happened again? Hey, today, he said there's going to be sit at home. Oh, what's happening again? What is destroying us? The word "what" is not for people who understand purpose. Purpose is understood by those who talk about the word "why." What is purpose, anyways? I think we hear that word every day. You know, we talk about that word every day. But I'm going to be looking at two words here so that you can come to terms, you know, which can come to terms with understanding what we are doing and why we're doing, you know. You're touching spiritual and physical truth. Yes, Ego. I have to go that dimension, you know, going here and there. I'm going to be also looking at a particular narrative in the book of Joshua chapter 2, where we heard of the story of Rahab, the two spies going to Rahab, and all of the whole stuff that happened there. Now I'm going to also be bringing the truth from all of this stuff so that we can understand this. All things work together for the good of them that love the Lord and are called. Now, one, they love the Lord. Two, they are called. That means one. Remember that time, I please, if Adazion can hear me, please, that God has not given us. But of love, of fear, and of sound mind. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of sound mind. Reply directly in the comment section of Simon Shenanigans. Yes, stooping low. Thank you so much. Conan View Media is stooping low. Some people, I just see some of my people, you know, always replying to everything. Anything they say, oh, they talk about me, they reply, hey, they're talking about me here. I don't reply. I don't reply. Yes, intermittent freezing. I know it's showing here. I don't know. The network signal is just crazy. You are dwelling on. You are dwelling on trifle. This Biafra, and please everybody take it, 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7. I want people to be conversant with that scripture, open it and look at that scripture over and over and over again. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of sound mind. Now, I told you something initially, and I said that love represents power. And then there was a particular narrative scripture I quoted initially. Somebody can remind me, please. I want to remember when I talked about power and I talked about talked about love being power and all of that. I want to relate it to this scripture right now. Oh my. All things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called unto his purpose. Now, two things. Yes, all things work together. Romans chapter 8, verse 25 or so. Please help me check it if it is 25 or so. But it's Romans chapter 8. I know. Anyways, is it 25 or 26 or so? Please help me check it out, please. We want to have Bible students here. You know, these are things, scripture that those days when we were little in children's department, they call us survival of the fittest. You come and line up. You start quoting scripture. You quote and quote. This one quotes and quotes, and you keep quoting until the person who's going to stammer will fall out until you get the champion. you know, and basically most of the times I was always a champion. I'm not boasting anyways. I'm not like those fathers who come to tell you every time I carried first in class. No, it's not a boast. At least you can go to Assembly of God Church Coca, 23 Mami Moody Road Coca to ask. That was where I did all of this stuff. That was where I had my childhood. In church, Romans 8 verse 28. Okay, not 25. Yes, 28. All things work together for good. Thank you so much, Hadassah, and you just helping us here scripturally. You know, that's a woman of God. You know, Mama here. You know, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called unto His purpose. Two things: one, love the Lord; two, called. So they are first empowered, and then they are called. Now, two things: love and then called. Now, Romans chapter 2 and 2 Timothy, chapter 2, chapter 1, verse 7 says, now, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. Now, you see, the connection here now is how we relate the mind in relation in juxtapositioning it with the narrative of power and love. And you have to understand something here, because if you remember the last time I was talking about this power of love, power, and of sound mind, I'm going to play a particular video here so that you can understand what we're saying here, and then you can understand why we are doing what we're doing and how we're missing it. Now, watch this. First, the spirit of love and the spirit of power and the spirit of sound mind. Now, the spirit of power and of love connects your body and your spirit. Now, listen carefully, because I'm going to take it gradually from here. The spirit of love and power are this direct connection to our source, which is God. Power here represents our source, which is the spirit, which we are made of, because the spirit of man is the candlelight of God. You understand that? That's what scripture says. The spirit of man is the candlelight of God. If somebody can get that scripture, that doesn't mean if you can get it also for us, you know, at least the spirit of man is the candlelight of God. Now, if the spirit of the man is the candlelight of God, then it simply means that the spirit of man is a direct product from God, which means when in Genesis chapter 2, when scripture says that God created man and molded and created man and breathed into him the breath of life. If you check Genesis chapter 3, you'll see that. He said he breathed into him the breath of life. The Hebrew word there is nepash. That means he became a living soul. Nepash. The word soul means nepash. Hebrew word for soul is nepash. Now, what does nepash represent? It represents that conscious side of man that connects to the spirit, which gives information to the body to operate. Now, just watch it there. Now, we're taking this because we have to get scripture to understand how we flow and the things we are doing right now and how much we can get to understand what we're doing right now to get, Proverbs chapter 20, verse 27. Thank you so much for that. Oh, my, like this. Thank you so much for this. Now, please, people, put these scriptures down, because if you want to get Biafra, you must understand the scripture. Then you can understand how to stand resilient, to be resilient and consistent, and at the same time to follow the narrative of what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu talked about, consistency. Now let me tell you why the scripture is very, very important for you to know that what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was saying was true. In scripture, everything you see about God is consistent. For instance, as soon as Cain and Abel came into the picture, and then men needed to now begin to contact and relate with God, the first thing that happened was that Abel understood the narrative and he sacrificed an animal. Blood was shed. Now, reaching out to God after the fall of man, blood was needed for the atonement. So Abel understood that revelation, got the revelation. Cain didn't get the revelation. Cain dwelt on bringing crops and all these, plants and all of this stuff, offerings. But Abel understood that the depth of what he needed to do was connected to the blood, because the salvation that will come through Christ later was going to be through blood shedding. So you discover that when Abel killed the animal and shed the blood of that animal, God accepted Abel and loved him and accepted him, which got Cain angry. Now, this represents two worlds of two people. One, we have two kinds of people here today in Biafra movement. those who understand the sacrifice and the blood shed already and respect these and are able to be consistent with the truth because of the blood that have been shed already. Because blood represents life, and if life must be sacrosanct, then you must understand the truth connected to life, which connects to what God wants for life, and which is, of course, connected to the purpose of God for humanity. So if I would understand the narrative of I must understand the context of life in the shedding of blood, because the importance and the value of life is that blood was shed, showing us the highest level God can go for the purpose of getting man back to himself, which means Jesus himself came, or Christ came in by himself to shed his own blood, telling you that the extent, the purchase power for life to be restored is in the blood. And the blood is a very, very important ingredient to the sustenance and the evidence of true living. So in Genesis chapter 3, we see Cain killing Abel for shedding blood. That means for standing for life. Because when Abel shed that blood, he was standing for life. He understood the essence of purpose. He was behaving in a rhematic context. What I mean rhematic, rhema. That means he had a revelation of the foreknowledge of what God is intending for humanity. That was why in the book of Hebrews, chapter 11, scripture talks about, made a narrative, and Paul made a mention of him there. And other aspects of scripture, where they said the blood of Abel cried from the ground because he shed the blood, and his blood became very significant to understanding the purpose of life rather than riches, rather than wealth. Now, if you look at these two life, Cain and Abel, you have to understand two people in our very generation. Now, one, those who understand what it means to sacrifice for Biafra. Two, the other people who are concerned about material things. They want to get wealth, they want to eat, just like Cain. All his crops represented the wealth of nations, planting, doing business, and making money. But therefore, Abel, he understood it by blood, that there's a sacrifice that is so important and sacrosanct. So the shedding of blood represents sacrifice and all of that. So in this context now, we are linking this to that. So now let's go back to what we were saying. Now, talking about power, love, and sound mind. Now, I told you that power represents the origin of humanity, because the cosmos, the universe, everything that has to do with creation came from the display of God's power through his words. Now, when God displayed his power, he proved his power and approved of his power by the actions he took in creation. And when the earth was now reformed and recreated, or reformed by being made, and then of course after the destruction, after what happened in Genesis chapter 1 verse 1, when it was being recreated in verse 3 of that Genesis chapter 1, when the curse came in verse 2, and then the recreation of the earth in verse 3, that was an expression of the dimension of God's power to bring about to life again the purpose for humanity. And when we go to Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, he now spells out that purpose. He said, increase and multiply and replenish and subdue. And of course, these are the things. So the purpose of God for humanity is to increase, to multiply, to replenish, to subdue. Yes, that's his name, Chineke, Chukokike. Now, that's the purpose. So now first you must understand, why did God create man? 1, to increase. 2, to multiply. 3, to replenish. 4, to be fruitful. Fruitful, multiply, increase, replenish, subdue. Now you see, so when we understand purpose, then we have to transcribe the knowledge of the purpose. What is purpose? I was asking that question. Purpose simply means the reason for a thing. Just simple. The reason for a thing. So now you ask yourself the question, what is the reason for Biafra? And why is Biafra going through this? They are going through right now to achieve restoration. Because when you look at what is the purpose, it brings you to the definition of purpose. From the definition of purpose, you now ask, why then is this happening? Because what is not going to give you the fullness of the details of purpose. What will only take you to deal with trifles. What are trifles? Things that are not so important. Not because they are not necessary, but they are not important. That's why it's called trifles. When things, just like when you talk about petty, somebody being petty, what they are dwelling on is not as if that thing is not somehow part of the game, but what they are dwelling on is insignificant compared to the purpose of a thing. So when you ask the question of what is this, it gives you the definition of what it is. Then when you find the definition, the next question is, why then is this thing not being done the way it is defined to be? For instance, you ask your question, what is Biafra for? Simple. Biafra is for a group of people who are designed to live under that name and who call themselves a group of people, a kind of people in a nation who have this kind of heritage, who have this kind of background, who have this kind of traditions, and who are like this, and who have decided they are Biafrans. And Biafra represents Biafrans. So now you ask yourself, why then are they not subduing? Why then are they not a nation? Why then are they not for their the purpose why they are created? Then that is when you begin to go to integrities to make sure we come to where we are. Now let's go back to what we were saying initially. Now, through power, God created us. Even when we were sinners, Christ died for us. And Paul said that in Romans, right? God commends his love towards us, even if we get sinners, Christ died for us. Now, the power of God was revealed in the love he had for us, just like what it said in Genesis, John chapter 3, verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. So the purpose of this now is that he has his love, which expresses his power to give. Now, that power was expressed when Christ shed his blood, just like what Abel did initially. And of course, if you look through scripture also, talking about consistency, you'll discover that after Abel's killing and all of that, even Noah himself, after coming out of the ark, shed animal blood. And after that, people kept shedding blood. God gave Israel the understanding of how they're going to the atonement for during the talking about the sacrifice of the Levites carrying out these sacrifices on behalf of the nation of Israel in the book of Deuteronomy, in the book of we can now begin to see it in Kings, First Samuel, Second Samuel, First Kings, Second Kings, where all of this stuff kept on after the temple was built and these activities were going. Before that, the tabernacle, having the tabernacle of Moses and all of that, where all these things were still done. You're having the holies and the holies of holies and all of that, all these processes. Maybe with time, and we'll begin to look at these things so that people can begin to understand where they are coming from, so that Biafra people can understand where they are coming from and understand what have been happening to them all this while through their forefathers and history and all of that. So now Romans chapter 5, 8-10. For when we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Yes, God commended his love towards us in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. For when we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Romans chapter 5, 8, verse 10. Now, he didn't die for us because we became saints. No, he died for us because we were still sinners. He died for us so that he could make us to have an opportunity to also be identified as righteous. Now, his death, his burial, and his resurrection brought about grace that confers on us the honor of being righteous, not because we are righteous by what we do, not of works. Even if we have to work at our salvation, doesn't mean that grace or our righteousness is of our works. Now get it right. Scripture says we have worked out our salvation with fear and trembling. Now, the word there, fear, does not represent the fear that the devil brings. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but talking about reverence. The word there, fear, represents reverence. So God has commended his love towards us in that while we're yet sinners, Christ died for us. Now, even when Christ died for us, Paul said we have to work out our salvation by fear and trembling. Now, when Christ died for us, we now became righteous. But that means right with God. We became right with God when we accept Christ, not because we don't do evil, not because we're not still evil, or not in the sense that not because we don't commit sin, along the line, because as humans, whether by your thoughts or whatever ways, you are going to commit sin in one way or the other. But the power of God by his love that comes upon us through believing in him now makes us and gives us the ability to identify with God and also to be accepted by grace and then conferred with the power to be righteous. That is why Paul was frowning at self-righteousness. If you go to that scripture, if you go to Romans chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7, then critically in chapter 8, chapter 9, you will see the expression of grace. In fact, in chapter 9, it gives you a basic expression of grace to the fullest, where examples were made, like somebody like Abel being, I'm sorry, we have what's the name now? Esau and Jacob, God loving Jacob and hating Esau, and then of course talking about Mo Pharaoh being raised to be killed. That means he was raised to show and for God to show his power through him and kill him. That's what he said. In Romans chapter 9, you'll see all of those details. I want you to go and sit down and read the book of Romans chapter 9 to understand how the power of God operates, so that you can understand the power of God in the expression of his love. That means that what God is saying that we should be of love, power, of sound mind. Now, the power is of the Spirit of God in us, which gives us the ability to be alive. That is the power. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but he has given us the spirit of power and of love. So that power translates into love. Now, let me tell you this. Now, let me bring this to you. The reason why we have not achieved Biafra is because we have not understood the side of the power of God in us, which explains the concept of love. Do you know that it takes love for self and other people to be consistent and maintain the truth for Biafra to come? Everything we have been seeing right now in Biafra is because the power of God within us, which propels the Spirit of God in us to live, has not given a revelational knowledge of the love of God in our hearts, so that we don't pursue the things we need to pursue in the truth, or in the line of truth, in the truth of God and the purpose that is embedded in the truth. So you find that people begin to convert that spirit that is in us, that power that is in us, into the concept of fear. And what does fear do? Fear make people cheat. Fear make people, steal. Fear make people kill other people. When people are afraid, they become subject to evil because they feel frustrated within them psychologically. They feel, restive. They feel very, 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 very lost. They have lost a kind of, let me say, they have lost their self-esteem. They have lost the purpose of their existence. They have lost the essence of life. So they are full of fear that all they think they could do is to react by emotion. And when they react by emotion, they begin to carry out things that are devious, diabolical, and terrible to existence. So they go any length to capitalize on the situation on ground to defraud other people, to kill other people, to subdue other people. Now, I was giving you a narrative one time, I think last year or so. I told you that Britain, the nation Britain, didn't just come all out one day and decided to now begin to look for people to make them to make slaves. They came to understand the narrative of slavery over the time by the empires that have gone before. Now, when they now got to a time in their nation when they were suffering, they were so religious that they began to lose the essence of life. The reason why Biafrans today are losing the essence of their existence is because they have been, bastardized by the concept of religion in the wrong way, which has been the narrative of Britain, that Britain discovered and which made them to be in a situation, a very horrible situation as at that time. Now, when they discovered that their nation was very poor, they were getting poorer and poorer, and they were becoming, the famine was becoming so heavy. They began to look for who to conquer, places to conquer, to take over their properties, to take over their resources, and all of that. That was when they now started the issue of conquest. That was when they now began to use, people like Lugard, who were pirates and criminals. They get them, they capture them, they discuss with them, and they have an agreement with them, and they use them to come over to, utilize their energy in that area of, of criminality, and all of that, and utilize that energy for their own purpose, or for their own benefits. So people like Lugard and all those rogue people that came into Africa and began to divide and take control and all of that, began to use that narrative, and the other places also began to see this. Everybody wanted to have to put other people under their subjection. Yes, others have posted something. James was killed, blood shed. Stephen Stone, blood shed. Many disciples, including Paul, have been locked up in prison. Paul perceived that the young man, Timothy, would be in fear and wondering. He needed to be reassured. Yes, because when you are in the level, when you find yourself in the, that's my, see, some people think that those who are, and those who get involved in criminality are brave or very audacious people, or are very people to be feared. No. Fear is the reason why people go into criminality. Fear of the unknown. Fear of, they don't understand the purpose of life. And so when people don't understand the purpose of life, they work contrary to life. And as soon as you find yourself working contrary to life, you are living in fear. Because if you understand what you are and who you are and the purpose and why, you is the knowledge of the why, that is the problem. So most of these people who commit, now you should understand fear in different ways, because fear is multifaceted. In knowledge, you got to understand that. The reason why someone will come into Biafra movement like this, what we're doing, to come and all they do is to come and steal from the people, to come and defraud the people, to tell you they are raising funds for ESN, and then they divert the funds, is for the fear of the unknown. They don't understand the purpose of their lives, and so they feel when they get opportunities like this, they have to capitalize on it and secure their future. They want to secure their financial future, not understanding that purpose for life is that when you solve problems, you already have secured your future. In fact, the most only way to secure your future into generations to come is when you begin to solve life's problems. But when you now constitute to become a major problem to life by not understanding first why you are here, and all you do is to try to defraud the people, to steal from the people, to manipulate the people, like Azuka and Simon doing, like the DOS members are doing, like other people who call themselves lawyers, like some other people who are, every one of them thinking of, now look at what is happening in the issue of Mazen Amdekano. The DOS comes out to issue their own stuff. Simon capitalizes on it to try to get himself, to get Biafrans to believe that he is for Mazen Amdekano, and then he holds on to Ejimako, and anything Ejimako posts, he takes it forward, and then he posts it on Daily Post, and his agents begin to spread it everywhere. His e-frogs begin to jubilate in that regard, trying to give you a deception or deceive you to believe that he is for Mazen Amdekano. Of course, Asarido Kobo has shown it and have proven it. The man who is even against Mazen Amdekano have told you that this person has staged a coup. These are people, they, even if they are evil, yes, but they understand what it means for somebody to come and say they are prime minister when the person who is in charge is still alive. They understand that depth. That is why we say knowledge. You see, when you know the why for a thing, you make mistakes. The question here is, what we're going through? That's a big question. Maybe I just want to get your feedbacks. Let me see what you're going to answer. Why are we going through all of this stuff in quest for our freedom? I want to hear. I want to feel your mind. I want to see what you can. Let's learn together. Let's learn together. All things work together for good the bad, the ugly, all work together that love the Lord and that are called into his purpose. The first thing is that they love the Lord, understanding the purpose of their lives. You cannot love the Lord if you don't understand the purpose of your life. Now, I want to get your narrative here, because if you look at what Paul said in that Romans chapter, he said, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called into his purpose. Now, see, he first said, love the Lord, and then they are called. Now, the first thing here is love. Now, they love the Lord. Now, Jesus says something. How can you claim to love me when you don't love those around you? Now, which means that to love the Lord simply means to love humanity. Am I correct? So there's no way anybody can talk about love without first an expression, a physical expression of it in the context of what we do to other people. So I will weigh and measure my love for God by how much I love other people. Am I correct? That's what it means. Those who love the Lord, and Jesus himself now says that you can't talk about loving God when you have not loved your brother that you see. Because the expression of love itself is in the context of the physical approach we give to it, or the physical definition we give to it by our actions. So which means now, if I'm going to talk about love, I will be looking at how I deal with the people. And when I talk about the people here now, I will talk about my people, Biafrans. So because I have to express this in the context of nationhood, or put it in that narrative so that I can now have a perspective to what I want to achieve with Biafra. Now, how do I measure my love for Biafra or the people of Biafra? By what I do directly or indirectly, whether to one Biafran or to many Biafrans. So when I have an opportunity like this I have now to say the truth to Biafrans, it is an expression of the love I have for Biafra that would make me stand for the truth to say the truth. Am I correct? I want us to reason. Let's reason. Let's take it slowly and reason. Apostle Paul in prison, just like Onyendu is locked up in DSS dungeon, needed to reassure the young man Timothy, who is his spiritual son. An assurance. God has not given us the spirit of fear. Paul chose to go to prison because he understood that fear makes you deny the truth. Are you getting it here? Now let's relate it, just like what Adazian has posted here. Paul had the opportunity not to go to prison if he renounces Christ. Are you getting it? But Paul chose to go to prison by holding on to the gospel of Christ. And so when he held on to the gospel of Christ, he was able to prove his bravery for the truth and was able to show that he has no fear to stand for the truth. And so he was put in prison for bravery and not for fear. But you see, in the natural way of reasoning, people might think that bravery means getting yourself away from danger. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu himself is in prison today because he chose to stand for the truth. And he's given himself for truth. And so the bravery in holding on to truth makes him deny the fear of supporting evil so that truth can take its place. The reason why most of our people here are supporting criminality when it comes to Biafra restoration, especially the e-frogs like Madu Abuchi here, who said, my brother, stop being greedy and jealous. I don't understand. The reason why you have such kinds of people is because they are afraid that standing for the truth will make them lose the kinds of people they have already attached their minds to, people like Simon. So they need to keep their hopes high by having people like that being in display. So all they need to do is to hold on to their fear of losing such kinds of people, because they see Biafra freedom and Biafra mandate as a man-made project. If they lose somebody like Simon, the project might go down. Who else? The question they keep asking you on social media is, who else is going to take the place if Simon is taken away now? Okay, for instance, that's the question they ask. Who else is going to take his place? They think that Biafra is dependent on a particular person's narrative or a particular person's bragado. Let me use that word. It's all these braggarts. Thank you so much, Kunan View Media. These are people who are afraid of truth. So no matter what the humans they believe to be their gods, or the humans they think they glorify, no matter what those humans do, they can never fault that human, because they have taken them to be God. The only person you cannot fault is God. And so when you find yourself not finding fault in what somebody has done wrong, then you have glorified them and put them in the place of God. Let me tell you something. In spite of the fact that in Matthew chapter 13 or so, is it Matthew chapter 13 now? I try to remember. When Jesus was asking, he said, who do men say I am? And the people began to give a narrative of how they are faulting Christ. They said you are Elijah. They said you are Elijah. They said you are Jonah. They said you are this, you are that, you are this. They are calling you so many things. That means you have faults because you are human. Then Jesus now says to them, then who do you say I am? Because you are close to me now. And Peter quickly said, you are Christ. By revelation, he said, you are Christ, the Son of the living God. Now, do you know what Jesus said to Peter? He said, flesh and blood have not revealed this to you. That means the human mind have not revealed this to you, because the human mind would always reveal negativity about truth. Human mind is always afraid of truth, that what they do is that they must keep supporting evil. So when people like Simon come and they lie to them, they say, no, that lie is true. That lie is good. It's a good lie. Just let's take it. Yes, there is a Biafra house in Maryland. They bought the house. Oh, yeah, yes, he leave it. We'll just like him like that. Let him continue. They refuse. You see, when it comes to lies, the human mind have been designed to always embrace and hold on to lies. But when it comes to truth, the human mind always look for faults in truth. So the people were looking for faults in Christ, and so they equated him to man. They called him Jonas. They called him different names. And Jesus was smiling when the disciples were telling him, because these people have not caught the revelation of truth. If they had caught the revelation of truth, they will know. Matthew chapter 16. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for that. 13 to 20. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate. Jesus said, now these guys don't have the revelation because they are still dwelling in flesh and blood, the natural way of existence. So they never knew what truth represents. And so they saw truth as any other person who is human. So when Jesus now said to them, who do you say I am? They said, Peter now said, you are Christ, the Son of the living God. Now Jesus now gave a perspective to how that truth came about. He said, flesh and blood have not revealed this to you, which means that what you are saying now is because you have been transcended from the level of believing in a lie to the point of holding on to truth. So Peter at that point got a revelation that gave him an understanding of truth. And so in spite of the human nature of Christ, he saw Christ as whom he is, the truth, the Son of the living God. And do you know what happened after that? As soon as Peter, just check the next from verse 21 or so, Christ began to tell them how he's going to die and all of that. And you know, the next thing that happened was this. Peter said, no, you are not going to die that way. Our people would rather believe in illusion than truth. Yes. Illusion. Trifles. Now listen. As soon as Jesus began to talk about how he's going to die, after this revelation came to Peter in verse 13 to 20, from verse 21, Jesus began to talk about how he's going to die, which is a product of that truth. Peter said, no. Peter now his human side now came up. He said, no, you can't die. That's it. Because Peter never understood the narrative of sacrifice in this whole thing. So he thought that Christ holding on to death as at that time and agreeing to die for the remission of sin was going to take Christ away and make them vulnerable. So Peter said no. And Jesus, you know what Jesus said? Jesus said, no, get thee behind me, Satan. As soon as Jesus saw the devil rearing his head up in the same Peter that got a revelation from heaven, you know what Jesus did? Jesus resisted the devil. Jesus resisted the devil. Peter was one of his best. When you are in a mission that is of truth, do you know what truth does? Truth will always expose the lies as time goes on. In spite of the fact that Peter had the revelation, he still had a part of him that was too human to understand the fullness of the revelation. So with time, Christ made statements that revealed that nature of Peter. And so when Peter revealed that nature by what he said, Christ resisted him and called him Satan. When people come in the context of the truth of Biafra, what God wants to do in Biafra, with time, the truth itself, by the actions it portrays, will reveal the lies. In truth, resist that lies. It takes those who are believe in truth and who have a knowledge and revelation of the truth to resist that lies. Along the line of truth called Biafra, Simon came and started showing a sign that he has a revelation. We supported. Told Peter, flesh and blood have not revealed this. As soon as the devil reared his head, Christ said, get thee from my way, Satan. The same way, as soon as because he has in criminality and evil into this. He has brought in criminality and evil. So as the devil shows up in him, we resist him. As long as they have decided to patronize evil against the truth, they're going to go down. They will go down. It's not by magic. It's not by my talk anyways. It's by the truth. That is what the truth does. Once you come against the truth, you go down. You go. It's as simple as that. If I come against the truth, I'll go down. Peter did not yet know at that time that Jesus was born to die. He never understood the details of the revelation. Peter never understood the details of the revelation. People like Simon don't understand the details of the truth. So they came in dancing like Peter, oh, you are Christ, the Son of the living God, by a revelation. Oh, people like Simon come and they said, oh, Biafra is of the spirit. Biafra is of Chukwokike. But they don't have an in-depth knowledge of the truth of Biafra. The same way Peter never understood the fullness of what Christ represents. The fullness of truth comes by complete dedication to the cause of truth. When self begin to show up along the line, you will begin to live in fear and you begin to be afraid of keeping to the narrative of the truth. As soon as fear came in to Simon and co, as soon as the spirit of lies entered them, they started showing and began to steal the resources and began to defraud Biafrans and began to destroy ESM, began to destroy the structure of Mazinam, began to enthrone themselves, give themselves titles and all of that. And all of those details now begin to reveal the fear. They want to secure this thing quickly before Mazinam is released. They want to get Biafrans quickly to their side. They want to be collecting the monies every week this time before Mazinam will come out. Self was beginning to show up. Greed, self began to show up in them, and they needed to do things along the line of lies to sustain. But the truth about it is that anything you do along the line of lies, you will go down. When Peter was doing all of that, Peter was thought he was going to, I'm going to stop Christ from dying and all of that. He took a sword and cut the ear of a servant of the high priest and all of that. And then suddenly he came to the time that he became so powerless, he now went out of the line. He ran away. You know why? Truth will always stand and lies will go down. And as soon as they became baptized in the Holy Ghost in the upper room, as you see in the book of Acts chapter 2, what happened? The spirit of boldness came, and as soon as they aligned themselves with the concept of truth, what happened? They were able to bring down the kingdom. Today we have the gospel everywhere. Now let me tell you why we are not. We are struggling with Biafra. Let's go. It's a deep teaching. We're going to go into that, but let me play a video. I played it the other time. I'm going to play this video again because it's very important. I'm going to play this video again. I'm going to play it because it's important. You know, the truth is always, people don't always want to identify the truth with the truth because they have been given over to lies in their hearts. But I thank God for those who are standing on the truth. Now, let's listen to this video. Let's listen to it again. Please, I want you to observe this video critically. This was the video I played the last time, 2 days ago, when I last broadcasted. And I told you we're going to talk about this video. I want you to look at this video critically. And not just critically, but analyze it in your mind. Allow your spirit to analyze it. That spirit in you to analyze it. Because it's very important for us to look at these things critically and crucially. So that we can understand very well the things we're doing along the line of Biafra. Along the line of Biafra. Remember, we're talking about purpose and trifles. Now, I told you the other time, I said, purpose is the reason for a thing. Trifles, it means dwelling on unimportant things that are not important. So when you dwell on things that are not important, you are holding on to trifles. Do you know that you can still be in the line of fighting for Biafra and yet you are dwelling on trifles? Now, let me explain that before I play this video. Let me explain that. There are so many of us here, especially who believe in the truth. But because we don't understand that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called unto his purpose, that even in the line of trying to achieve Biafra, we're going to have a lot of things going wrong. We're going to have people. I see most of us, all we're doing is we're dwelling on the letter from Chikedozium and then another counter letter from this one. And then these are things that will happen. And some of us are beginning to talk about how sad we are. And some of us are beginning to talk about how our spirits are down. Some of us are beginning to say, oh, how we are beginning to feel weak. And I begin to ask you, when did Biafra become Chikedozium, Simon Ekpa, or Azuka, or any of these criminals? When did Biafra become these people? Biafra had been there before they came into existence, even their forefathers. The people of Biafra have been existing for years, for thousands of years. They might not be called Biafra then. We have been existing and living. And we have been a people, and you cannot, by judging or by the behavior of few people who are living in the now generation, begin to now define Biafra. How can you define your freedom and what you are by the actions of few criminal elements? That means you don't understand the fullness of the revelation in the truth called Biafra. You don't understand it because it takes you getting to understand this detail, that you would know that come the evil, come the good, all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called unto his purpose. And then what you now need to do is that you now buckle up. It is now time to support. It is now time to come all out and join forces with those who are standing on the truth. Because as much as there are people who are standing on the truth, definitely Biafra will come. This happened in the book of Genesis. Is it Genesis chapter 15 or 16 or so? If I can get that scripture. When 15. Is it Genesis chapter 11 or 12? Please, I want to get that, please. When the three men came to visit Abraham, and then suddenly, I think Genesis chapter 13 or so, I can't remember now. And then after feeding them, and then now told, because of what the hospitality Abraham showed these three visitors who are actually God in human form. Because of that hospitality, do you know what happened? They said, how can we do a thing like this without revealing it to someone who is of the promise, who has been given the promise? Abraham. He now told Abraham, he said, we are going to destroy Sodom. And we are going to destroy Sodom. And Abraham was sad because his brother is in Sodom. Abraham said, please, if you find 50 men in that place, will you destroy Sodom? And the angel said, no, if we find 50 men, we will not destroy Sodom. He now saw that, he knows, it seems that no good for these people to say that they are going to destroy Sodom. That means there are not up to 50 men there that are righteous. So he now said, okay, please, pardon me for this time again. If you find 20 righteous people in Sodom, will you destroy Sodom? And the angel said, no, we will not destroy Sodom if we find 20. Abraham now thought, Chineke me. It seems there are no 20 people in this, because for them to say they are going to destroy that place, that means there are no 20 people there who are righteous. Okay, please, pardon me, please, sirs, I beg you this time. I know I'm talking too much, but please, I want to ask you this time. Please, if you find 10 men who are righteous in Sodom and Gomorrah, will you spare that place? Yes, we'll spare that place if we find 10 men. Oh my God, that was another disaster. That means, for them to have even said that they are going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, that means they have already looked at it and they know that there are no 10 men. And Abraham had to say, please, if you find 5 men, would you spare the place? He said, yes, we will spare the place. That was when Abraham could not say further, because he knows that this matter don't pass him on. But you know what? As long as there was one person that is termed righteous because of the promise, which is Lot, God was going to preserve a generation. That was why Lot was saved. God is always going to preserve a people and make sure that their generation come to existence. We see that in the life of Noah. In all of the nations, Noah was standing strong. And God said, build an ark, I want to save you. God has a way of saving these people in the midst of the destruction. Now, let me tell you something. You see the destruction, the things that are happening now in Biafra land. Most of you don't understand that it is because you are standing on lies. That is why you are delaying Biafra. And that is why the enemies are killing and maiming, because they have the opportunities. As soon as there is a delay, you leave a gap for them to kill. And that's what's happening. As soon as there is a delay in something that is supposed to be restored or fixed, you leave a gap for uncertainty. Look at what is happening at Izombe. If our people have stood for the truth from time, the DOS members, if they have stood for the truth, if they had made sure that the truth is held on to, and they did the right thing when, as soon as Mazin Amdekano was kidnapped, of course they couldn't have, because some of them were accomplices. They actually supported and sponsored the killing of Mazin Amdekano. I mean, the kidnap of Mazin Amdekano and the extraordinary rendition of Mazin Amdekano. They can't kill him. Mazin Amdekano cannot be killed. Nobody can. No human. Any of his hair, just one of his hair, cannot fall to the ground, except God permits. So that's how we understand the truth in this whole thing. Mazin Amdekano is in the hands of God. Nigeria cannot kill him. 10 of Chinas and Woru, 10 of Simon cannot kill him. If they like, they should go and get any doctor from anywhere and all of that. And do whatever they want to do. They can't kill him. Mazen Namdekan will come out. Shukoki will preserve him and bring him out. That is his purpose. Because he has said he's going to use him to lead Biafra to the freedom. Not for people who are giving themselves titles, prime minister and all of that, no. It is for Mazen Namdekan to lead us. But those who are going to be part of this are people who will stand on the truth, or else disaster will continue. Now, let me play that video. So, because of time, let me play that video because this teaching would. Now, watch this.
You there, second desk, blue jacket. What is your name?
My name is Alexis.
Alexis, please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not going to ask a second time. Thank you. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect a person's personal rights.
So that you can rely on the government?
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest? Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? You see, what you have just learnt, you wouldn't have understood in 1,000 hours of lectures unless you lived it. You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself. And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice, and there will be nobody there to stand before you. Truth and justice lives through us all, and we must fight for it. Because in life and work, I mean, we often live next to each other, but not with each other. We console ourselves that the problems of others are nothing to do with us, none of our business. And we go home glad at night that we're spared, but it's about standing up for each other. Every day an injustice happens in business, sport, or on the tram. Relying on someone else to take care of it is not good enough. It is our duty to be there for others, to speak up for others when they cannot. I am here to teach you the power of your voice. I want you to learn critical thinking to empower you to stand up for what is right, even if it means going against what everyone else is doing. Let's begin.
Now, did you really look at this? Thank you so much, Ego. I'm seeing the messages. Now, did you really look at this? Now, the last thing the man said was the power of your voice. The power of your voice. Now, the power of your voice can be useful or used appropriately or abused. I want you to get this. Now, for the fact that you have power does not mean that you can always do the right thing. Now, let me explain that. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of love, of power, and of a sound mind. That means when you have access to the power, which you have now by the life you live, that means you have access to the power. God has given you the power so you can live. Now he gives you that power which is converted to the doctrine of love. And love is what you express to nation, to another Biafran, to the love for nation, the love for freedom, the love for, what we are seeking for, and how much we want to get ourselves to truth and get ourselves out of, and to make sure that other people are free, and to make sure that the injustice happening in Biafra land stops, and to make sure that even if my family member has not been killed by Fulanis, I make sure that my people get freedom so that we can be free. Now that power is converted into love. But again, that power also needs a platform to operate in that love. That means sound mind. That is where we talk about the mind, the realm of the soul. Human being is made of the spirit, the soul, and the body. The spirit is the power side that connects to God, that brings us to life. Remember when God created the garden, there was the tree of good and evil. So which means that when God gives you the power, that power he gives you have access to even make a choice of evil or good. So now, in the context of that access to do good and do good or evil, he gives you the soul's realm, which expresses that love, that helps you to activate that love through a sound mind. Remember, sound mind represents the soul. The love itself represents the natural world, which is your body. Because it is in your body that you express the power of the spirits of the sound mind, or the power which has deposited the knowledge of the soundness in your mind. For instance, to love somebody, you need your body to love somebody. That means what you do, the actions you take, the things you do. For those of you who find Mazen Abdukanu, to be your father and of course the leader and our leader, you understand that Mazen Abdukanu was able to win that trust in us because of the things he did. In spite of the restrictions, in spite of the pains, in spite of the negativities, Mazen Abdukanu took actions that help us to understand who he is, and that was why we understood that truly he is living. You know what God told Samuel? He said, man looks on the outward appearance. It is what you do. That is where the love is expressed. That is why Christ came in the natural world to show us love by the actions he's going to take, or he took. Now look at that video clearly. When that man entered the hall, or the classroom, if you look at it critically, you'll see that the reverence, the respect for him was shown on the faces of the people. Suddenly they turn, and of course, he caught their attention. He caught the attention. And then they now stand up. And then suddenly, because by the order of the classroom, he had power to do whatever he wants to do. He looked at them all to the faces, and he pointed to a girl or a lady. He said, "You, leave my class." And the first thing you see on the face of the lady was curiosity. Why? Because what we are here to do is to learn. What? Remember? But why then are you trying to deprive me from learning? Why? That becomes the question. Please read the poem by Pastor Martins, No More. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. This poem is about the evil of silence in the face of injustice on others. Very, very, very critical statement from Pastor Martins in that regard that gives a clear definition of that video you just watched. Now let's watch it, because we want to find out where our problem began. Now this is a man who is, of course, by mandate and by authority, legally, he is their teacher or he's their lecturer. he comes into the class. Let's use the word teacher so that people can understand very well, because he's there to teach. He's there to help. He's there to support. That's why it's a lecture. Sometimes people don't really understand the depth, in-depth knowledge of to lecture, to take through, to lecture, or to teach. Still the same thing also. But when you use the word lecture, people don't understand the in-depth. So when you say teacher, that means to open your minds to knowledge, to open you to facts and proofs, theoretically and practically, to understand things that you need to know in the line of purpose of what you seek. So now, this man is the lecturer, is the teacher. He comes in and we see the respect in their faces. All of them expecting to, the reason why they are there that day was because they know that they're going to learn something from him today, since he is the teacher or he is the lecturer. So you see it in their faces, they were just relaxed. And as soon as he came in, you saw on their faces that they respected him, they revere him. That is respect. They revere him, you know. R-E-V-E-R-E. They revere him. Reverence, that's what it is. To revere, to reverence. Now, when he now began to talk, they were expecting him to continue or to begin the teaching. Maybe greet them and just smile with them, make them laugh or something, and then continue his teaching. But they were, of course, they just sat calm, they concentrated, and they looked to him, they looked up to him, they looked to his face for the next action coming from him. And what we saw there was a man who was in charge, knowing that he is in charge, and the people who are expectant from the one they are looking up to continue to start what he has to do for that day, and expecting it to be nice, and expecting every one of them to be part of it, because everybody came there to be part of it. They believed that they are bona fide members of that class because by their qualification, they have earned to be in that class, right? Because that is why they are all students. They are legally students of that class. They by registration and all of that, they have fulfilled the legal requirements to be in that class. So by legal means, they are highly carried to be in that class. So he's coming to teach them. He's coming to teach people who have their rights to be in the class. They have their rights because they have qualified for it. Just like Biafra, every Biafran has a right for nationhood. Every Biafran has a right to Biafra because by birth or by any other means, they are qualified, whether by marriage or by birth or so, they're qualified to be Biafrans. And so by that, they can speak about Biafra, they can fight for their rights, they can fight for justice, they can ask for things to be done right. That is why what we are doing right now, we are doing it because we are Biafrans and we believe in the truth that we want to live in the truth of Biafra. We believe that Biafra should be right. And so when we had Mazi Nnamdi Kanu come into the scene, we had Mazi Nnamdi Kanu as the leader who believed and brought the word from God. So we looked up to him and we're looking up to him. Now, in those days, as I gave you the story of Chief Akiri, who molested that young girl, as what you see in this class, I'm going to relate it to that story I gave you about the 7-year-old girl who was raped, who gave birth and all of that, abused by a chief called Chief Akiri in Akwa, Calabar. That means they formerly called Akwa, or whatever, however it is, however the accent is, Akwa or Akwa, or Akwa, whatever it is, however they pronounce it. Now, that was Calabar. This chief did this to that little girl. Now, take it also to this particular story, and then also look at it in the life of Biafrans. This chief represents the authority, the one in charge, the one in control, the one whom the people are looking up to. Also in that class, this man represents the one in charge, the one in control, the one these people who are bona fide members of that class are looking up to. Suddenly he comes into that class, just like that young girl was raped. He now was this particular to leave the class. The lady asked why. I don't understand. That's what she said. That's it. Why? I don't understand. Because by reason, every kind of requirement and all of that, she qualifies. She has not noticed what she has done wrong. She has not, in a widest imagination, not qualified to be in the class. If she had committed an offense, she would have quickly left. But because she had not committed any offense and nothing had gone wrong, she asked why and what is the screaming when Chief Akiri took her, tried to rape her and all that, she was screaming for help, screaming and asking, why is this happening to me? What have I done? Why is this happening? Why? The people kept quiet, nobody said anything. And if you also, the same way this happened, this lady was told to leave, the people kept quiet, everybody was leaving, even if they knew that what was happening was wrong, they kept quiet. The same way also in our current generation, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped, extraordinary rendition, everybody kept quiet, we all kept quiet, we all are looking, we all know it's wrong, nobody wants to speak, nobody wants to take action. Everybody wants to secure their head. They want to just be like the DOS members refused to do what they were supposed to do. They kept quiet because they were supposed to give orders to the people and lead the people to carry out action. And because most of the people are docile, and most of them, even in the DOS are docile, and the people, of course, as the people, the Biafrans, docile and evil, full of evil, because it is not happening to them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not them. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not their brother, or Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is just one of, okay, he's Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, he has been kidnapped. Oh, this has happened to him. Because it is not happening to them, they couldn't scream for justice, and so they indicted themselves by their silence. The same way also, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu have been in the dungeon for all of this while. We have been quiet. All we do is dance around trifles. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's kidnap and extraordinary rendition has proven that we all are people who always dwell on trifles. What are trifles? Unimportant details. We always look at the things. All we do now is stories. When Simon coughs, you come and analyze the cough. When Simon does, when the DOS writes about a story and tell you that they want to bring doctor or no doctor, all you do is you flood the social media with the story and begin to analyze. That is dealing on trifles. These are the normal things these evil people will do. Allow them to misbehave, mention their misbehavior, but get away with it and look at the facts. What we want is Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be free. What we want is Biafra to be free. So now in that class, the people were looking at what was happening to the lady, but because it was not happening to them, they kept quiet, even if they knew that what the man was doing was wrong. They looked at the man, they still sat down in the class, and okay, let him continue the lectures. So if the man had continued the lectures without saying anything about the lady, they would have sat down there, take the lectures, take the gains, take the stories, take everything, take the information, and then they will go with the information, and that young girl had been deprived of being part of the benefits of being in the class. Everybody would have been quiet. Everybody would have taken their own benefits. Everybody wants to get what they gain. Everybody wants to gain something. All of them want to gain what they want to gain. The guys in the class, every one of them, they all came for lectures. So this girl have been deprived. Okay, that's her business. It has happened unfortunately for her. But for us, we're still here. So give us the lecture. If the man had not turned, of course, we know it's an acting anyways. But let's just make it look like a real thing, where it is not an acting. It is something that is happening in the class or happening in our nation. Today, everybody in Biafra land want to enjoy themselves. They are talking about economy. They want to do their business. They want to. They don't want to sit at home. They want to do their business. They want to continue making their business, selling in Alaba international markets, selling at Ladipo, selling at Aspamda, selling everywhere, doing their businesses. Nobody cares. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in prison. He has been deprived. He has been deprived of his authority. He has been deprived of his position. He has been deprived of his freedom. He has been deprived of his health. He has been deprived of his fundamental human rights. And everybody says, oh yes, we know he has been deprived, but life goes on. Like in that class, everybody sat down, life goes on. Okay, you have deprived that lady anyways. Oh, it's unfortunate, but teach us. We want to get the lectures. They want to gain without somebody who is supposed to be part of it. Injustice. So they allowed the injustice to go, and they kept quiet until the man raised the issue. Was I unjust to her? And they said yes. They knew he was unjust. They never protested. They wanted to still sit down to get the lectures. The same way also what is happening to us today, we are all in a mess because we have a mindset of self. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being deprived. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is being depraved. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in a mess. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not here. But all we want to do is we want to gain. We want to call ourselves prime ministers. We want to call ourselves, give ourselves portfolios. We want to collect funds. We want to use ESN to defraud the people. We want to keep deceiving the people and manipulating the people to make money. Chike Doziem and Co. want to have their clique to make their money. They want to make sure they get the monies. Those ones with Simon, those rogue people, they want to also get their monies. Every one of them, everybody wants to make their monies. Mazin and Bikano have become the climbing platform for that. Has become the climate platform for that. That's how it says Nigerians maintained a deafening silence when Igbos are slaughtered and oppressed. People like T.Y. Danjuma started shouting. They colluded. They collude when the killings became democratic, and it affects them. Now, you see, when we talk about Igbos being slaughtered in, and killed in Lagos and all the things that are happening, I want to let them know something. Maybe people will not tell them the truth, but I'm going to tell them the truth today. Once you stand for injustice, just like what that man said, that's why I said understanding why we are going through what we're going through. That's where the lesson is today. You have just taken me to go to that part of the lesson. I wanted to take it gradually to this part, but since you have submitted this, let me use this as a basis of opening the eyes of the people to understand. You see what is happening at Izombe, what is happening at Lagos, what is happening at other parts of the zoo, what is even happening to us abroad. What is happening to us is that the injustice that you refuse to rise up against is coming back to you. That is why we're going through all of this. Now, what we are going through doesn't mean that we're not going to get freedom. Get it right. Spiral effect, chain reaction. Thank you so much, Ego. I like the way you send some, some phrases that help to send the message. Now, the spiral effect, of course. You see, that man said that when you stand for injustice, in that video I just played, he said, when you stand for injustice, when you refuse to defend other people when they are being unjustly treated, it will come back because it's a chain reaction. It will come. It will circumnavigate. There's a circumnavigation that goes on. It goes around and comes around and comes and goes around and comes around. It comes to that point again where it affects you. When Biafrans are being deprived by Simon and Co. stealing and delaying the progress of Biafra, it will come back to them. Even if people are going to die from that, from the effect of that, people are going to suffer just like people are suffering today. If Simon had done the right thing according to the reason why people contributed monies and gave to him to stop the election, maybe by now we would have once and for all stopped the narrative of Nigeria. By now we would have been shaping our side. Because we will resist them from the borders, we will resist them from the air, every part on the land, on sea, everywhere, we will resist them. But now it goes around, comes around. Yes, what goes around comes around. Thank you. It goes around and comes around. So now, if you listen to that video very well, the man said, you refuse, you guys sat here, you want me to start the lectures. But I just treated one of you unjustly now, and you never said anything. You never made the same thing that Chief Akiri did. This spirit of self has been in us. And that was why Chief Akiri could sell slaves. The people kept suffering the consequences because they refused to hold people like Chief Akiri in the 1880s responsible. They allowed people like Chief Akiri to thrive. And so they became the ones sold into slavery. Slavery business boomed. It boomed to the point that the colonial masters saw that they needed administration for this business. And so what they did was they now brought about the amalgamation and then created Nigeria, the business name, to continue this slavery. And as soon as they did that, they were still selling the people, using them as slaves and all of that. And as things, development continued, and then the world started frowning against human slavery and all of that, they now devised another means of doing these things, keep them perpetually in poverty, keep them under that narrative, that business name we have been using to sell them, still keep them under that narrative of Nigeria, but redesign the business, the scope, use them as slaves for themselves. Take their mineral resources, take their human resources abroad, and in the name of scholarships, in the name of when you have money, once you have money, you can send yourself as slave abroad. All you need to do is to go abroad and live and spend your money there. Your money becomes the benefit from it economically, and indirectly you are the slave, because when you go there, you begin to invest in their land, and then of course, some of you, when you get there, you begin to work for them. So you work for them economically, you are their slave. These days, they don't capture people and send them to become slaves. They don't capture them and put them in the ship. They don't capture them and do all of those stuff to them. These days, what they do is that you have your money, you still buy your way through, you get the visa, you fill the form, you fill the details and all of that. You sell yourself into slavery. You travel abroad, you get a job, you start working, then you get one car, you begin to pose inside, and you begin to showcase yourself in the car. Some of you want to speak from the car. Some of you want to just intentionally to make people feel that you are good, you are feeling okay. You are not good, you are still a slave. You need to come back to your land and appreciate your land and free your land and free your people. That is selfishness that is wrong with you. Yes, we know that some of us are abroad because we want to survive. Yes, but as much as you are abroad to survive, you must come to understand that when you are there, you must do everything to make sure your people are free. If you are there and all you do is to support the slave masters, continue to support Nigeria, what goes around comes around. You become affected by the reaction, by the consequences that comes with negligence. We are delayed in this because the spirits have been planted in us a long time ago. The British went so far to create Nigeria because the business was thriving. The people then didn't fight the injustice. The people didn't fight the injustice. It was like what Cain did. Cain was transacting. Abel was shedding blood, was sacrificing. He was bringing crops. All of that. Abel was shedding blood because that was the real form of freedom. You can sacrifice and yet sacrifice amiss. You can travel abroad and be wherever and supporting Nigeria indirectly. Willie Etim said, my brother, what is the right way? One cannot continue to do things wrong and expect to get the right result. It's like planting cassava and expecting yam to spring forth. Thank you so much, Ego. Now, Willie Etim, just keep listening. You will understand the right way. I know that your right way here is who you want to follow. That's what you are looking for. But I'm not calling you into following anybody. I'm calling you into following the path of purpose. And that path of purpose involves you. So you are the cynosure and evidence of the right way. All you need to do is to discover other people who are on the right path. The right way is to understand the truth and talk against the injustice. And just like in that video, you talk against the injustice and you refuse the injustice to stand by your action, renounce the injustice, and then come out of them and be separate. And then join forces with other people who want to do it right. Now you're getting the picture here, William Etim. Cross River. So it is in your land, Calabar, that a chief called Chief Akiri messed up a young girl because it is in our land, because still in the area now, still in Biafra land. The right path is the right way. Thank you so much, Ego. Thank you for that. Says, very greetings, matriculation and that individual for a genuine pursuit of the freedom of our motherland, Biafra. Thank you so much. I've not even seen Ledu. I've not seen her. Where is she? It's not compulsory anyways. We have a right to choose what we want to do. But anyways, she's always here to support and always here. Right. Thank you so much, Biafra Pride, Warriors and Fighters. And I want to thank the Warriors and Fighters doing great job, doing wonderful things. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Doing wonderful things. Sometimes when I want to make a submission and I don't see it, before I know it, they have already done. But with the ball, our eyes, please just tell us the people to follow. Just tell us the people to follow. Now, you see, the problem is that is the problem. We're always looking for who to follow. Do you know that in that classroom, the people, maybe what somebody is looking for who is going to speak first against the lecturer before they speak? The beginning point of what to follow, knowing what to follow, which is the truth, is to speak against the lies. Once you discover the lies, speak against it. Once you speak against the lies, you discover that you become the truth, or a representation of the truth. Once you become a representation of the truth, you now become an evidence of the truth. Once you become an evidence of the truth, you now know that what to follow is the truth. And then you begin to identify those who are following the truth. Under the auspices of the Transparency and Accountability Group, We are a group of people who have decided to follow the truth. We must come together under a platform. Under a platform. Ego, thank you. Transparency and accountability. Truth. That's it. Right now, we need to know the right person that's following the teachings of our leader. Willie, I want to ask you something. Are you following the teachings of our leader? If you are following the teachings of our leader, you will know that what I'm saying now, the things I'm saying, are connected to the teachings of our leader. You will know that anybody who comes now to say that they are prime ministers, they are going against the teachings of our leader. You know that anything that is done now against the people, anybody who comes to tell you lies, Mazin Americano have not come to tell you what he didn't do. But Simon has come to tell you several times the things that he didn't do. Manipulate the people, deceive them, show them a house that he has acquired, and then later restricted to till today. And we, of course, last week you heard them saying that he went on tour, and of course, you know, they said visual, but they know the people don't understand visual. When they say visual, the people now begin to because our people, they see visual tour, they don't know that he's talking about Zoom meetings. You know, and so he's manipulating people with the words, and he knows that he's manipulating people with the words, but he's just allowing it sell, so that those who believe that he's traveling all around will believe. Those who are his frogs believing that he's traveling all around will believe, and those who understands visual will now begin to tell. So two sides of it. Anyhow, you understand that I'm traveling. That's what he's trying to do. And now he tells you about visual travel tour and all of that. And he claimed to have gone to the US, yet they couldn't inaugurate that house. For over 2 months now that he said it's going to be. They have shown you seats, shown you the house and everything. They have not shown themselves sitting in that place. They only show you chairs in that place. They only show you pictures on the wall telling you that they have put the parents of Mazin Namdekano there. They have not shown you Simon sitting on the chair and Azuka and other people sitting on the chair and having a meeting and then telling you that, yes, this is the place. They have not shown you that. That is when you know the right people to follow. The people who are speaking the truth. If you stand on the truth, Willie, then you come and join me. If I am speaking the truth, then you and I will now join another person who is speaking the truth until we come together to speak the truth. Thank you so much, Ego. Thank you so much, Ego. Thank you. How can you show us chairs every time you keep posting pictures? Now look at this, the place is set, and yet nobody is sitting in there. None of you can sit in there. Azuka and Co cannot sit in there. And let's see a video evidence of a meeting, just like other people have been doing. What? Let me not speak a very terrible word here now. I want you to stop being an e-frog. Stop being an e-frog. Stop following people foolishly. Come to where truth is told. When you find the place of truth, people say it's the way it is without mincing words. Even if it is a team member of the accountability group that messes up, that does something of lies, I will stand and tell the person, you have lied here, and we will not take it. And then when I do also something wrong, even when we come back together, those of us who are of truth, as soon as I do anything that is evil, tell me immediately. Don't side me. Don't pretend and don't paint it. Because once you do that, one, you have brought the spirit of Simon, the spirit of one Nigeria, the spirit of evil into the whole thing. Me at once what I've done. Tell me at once. That truth is truth, no matter what. No matter what. No matter what is happening around you, if you change and try to paint it, you are part of the lies. And when the truth affects you, and you know that what you have done is wrong, and you now want to try to manipulate the whole thing, not to put blame on yourself, you are also showing the spirit of lies. That is why my own actions will judge me in the whole thing. Now you see, how would my actions judge me? You see, I'm telling you, I will always stand for the truth. But the day I go against lies, follow the path of life, know that I've gone contrary. Because from my videos, you now bring it out. You said this thing the other time. So I always want to put myself in check by saying the truth, so that anytime I remember what I've said, I remember in 1st of January, I came here and I talked about no more use any document that has to do with Nigeria, including schools, including anything of Nigeria to do anything, whether to travel or anything. And as time went on, as I started where I am now, trying to get some particular documents and all of that, it now was like, hey, I was beginning to struggle because I needed to get some of these documents to prove some stuff and to get some things done. I couldn't. And I was beginning to wonder to myself, have I made mistakes by saying that I'll not use anything that has to do with, I've come here, I've spoken by my words and told the people, sorry, that I will never. And to stand by my word, I must take action. And that is when the trials, the temptations will come. And so the temptations now came. And I've been coming, are still coming. When I will need some documents of Nigeria, of the things I said I will not use again in Nigeria, when I will need those documents to do some stuff. And these things have been causing some delays for some stuff I want to do. But I could keep remembering what I've said. You have said this. Are you going to go? Are you going to renege on your words? Are you going to say something else? Are you going to do something else? Biafrans are not here. They're not watching you. So you could still use these documents, as you said. Use it. Nobody will know. But am I truthful to myself? That's the big question. Am I truthful to myself? I had told Biafrans, but Biafrans are not everywhere with me. So if I go take the documents, the same documents I've told Biafrans that I will never use in my life, if I go and take that document and I begin to present it somewhere to prove that I have done this, I've done that, does it not mean I'm patronizing lies? Even if Biafrans are not there, the spirit of Biafra is there, or the spirit of God is there to check me on my words. So I told myself, all things work together for good. So even if I'm struggling with some stuff now and I'm not getting what I'm supposed to get, all things still work together for good, because that stance, that ability to stand for the truth, even when people are not watching, will yield results. Just like Mazen Amdekan is standing for the truth, even when he has been given monies, offered monies, not given now, offered monies, offered positions, offered fortune. And yet it is the people around him that are collecting all these fortunes, keep selling him. And some of us keep manipulating the situation to make money. People like Simon Ekpa and Azuka and Co. Let me see the messages here. Makiv Media says, irrespective of your reason for turning in here, please endeavor to like this defined lecture so that YouTube could be able to recommend it further. Thank you so much, Makiv Media. And please like this, like it. Please don't just watch, always like. Anytime you come on, as you watch, like also, so that we can have a ripple effect in that regard. And of course, those who have not subscribed, subscribe. We know some people have left. We want to blow it up again and let people subscribe. So please, we're going to do it because we know people who believe in the truth are many. There are more than those who believe in lies, even if those who believe in lies are those ones who flood on social media. And they are the ones who are always talking. But we know we're going to get it right. Many inconsistencies of his is always exposed. Open your eyes, people. Ego, thank you. As regarding Simon and all of that. And Willie says, Mazi, I really understand. I really want to understand something. Why is it that people are still following Simon like never before? They are fracas. Now, let me tell you, that was why before this fracas, okay, like never before this fracas. No, people are not following him like never before this fracas. People are on those who are following him are trying to make you believe. They keep consistently being here to make you believe that they are still in charge. People are not following him like that. And the truth about it is that Simon is already going. You can't stop the actions of the spirit of Biafra. Leave all these jamborees. When Jesus was going to be killed, what was happening? The people came against him. It was like the whole world was against him. But look at it today. He has drawn men to God by the truth. This fracas has opened up so many things. People are reasonable. And let me tell you, like that video you saw, people will always be quiet when things happen. That doesn't mean that they don't know what to do, or they don't know the truth, not what to do now. Not good. But people must learn now to know what to do. That is why these teachings are coming. Once you are able to identify lies, you must know what to do. And that is why this teaching is coming. Because for the fact that people keep quiet and some people are still there, behaving as if they are still supporting, or some people are still just quiet and watching and not even saying anything about what I'm saying, doesn't mean that people are not noticing. The spirit of Biafra is speaking to people in their hearts. So, but now we are given the teachings that will make people understand better, because some people are confused. I know how many people who talk to me, they tell me how you are confused and all of that. And I keep asking them, how can you allow one man and one woman, Chigedoziem and Co, Chinansa, I mean, how stable your mindset is regarding you, because you are your nation. So if these people determine how stable my mindset can be about my quest for my freedom, something is wrong. I know why you and the others backed out from him when you realized you were not seeing truth in things or a person, in a thing or a person. Back off you, so you will not reap the consequences. Thank you so much. I've mentioned it before, Ego. I've said it before, because I will not be part of the disaster that is coming. Now, you see, when Absalom was doing all of the evils he was doing, when David was off and all of that, people, he was being hailed and all of that, consequences will come. For the fact that people are getting away with the evils they are doing right now doesn't mean that the consequences will not come. I'm going to end this broadcast soon and shortly. Continue next time, because I have not gone deep into that video, and at the same time to talk about understanding why we're going through what we're going through, because the chief and what now and our actions now, I'll give us some vivid points to understand. Although Adaza pointed it, I read out the other time, but I'm going to analyze this in the next broadcast, maybe tomorrow or Tuesday. Explain tomorrow. Yes, it's going to be tomorrow. I'm going to have a broadcast tomorrow. I'm going to vividly explain this to you so that you can understand, because you must understand these things to do. If you want to follow lies, it's okay. Truth is truth. Thank you so much, Ego, for that. Truth is truth. Truth is not always popular. It's not always popular. It's not always popular. Hit the like button, please. People, hit the like button. Thank you, Ego, for that. It's not true. A lot of people have left Simon. Casey, that's false narrative from that dude saying Fracka. Of course, that's what I'm telling him. It's false narrative. Lots of people to make it look like someone is still on track. Like once that was coming here, whether okay, or so. And he will be giving you narrative as if he's with you in the gospel of truth. But he will be making everybody feel like Simon is still in charge. And Simon is still in charge. People are still talking about Simon. And I say, please block this guy. This guy is an agent. This guy is evil. When you see truth, hold on to truth and popularize the truth. Don't begin to promote the lies. Once you promote the lies, we know that you are part of the lies. Because when you indirectly promote the lies by telling us that people are still believing him, how are we going to stop it? You don't need all those narratives. The way people heard the truth about from Mazin Namikano, they followed Mazin Namikano and believed in what he's saying. The way also people will hear the truth from us as we speak, and they will give up with the lies. The same way also Wazirike was there. People were following him, but when he deviated and Mazin Namikano came up, people started following him with time. But he didn't get the whole attention all the time. But there was a time he was struggling to get the people to believe in what Chukwu Okike has given to him to speak to the people. And as soon as he was able to get the minds of the people out of that, and by evidence and by his love, that means the action when he was jailed in 2015, and when he still stood for the truth, that is when people began to see, yes, this man has the love of Biafra in his heart. Love for nation is your action being evidently pronounced by what you do. Thank you so much, Akuna Nena. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Ego agents. Yeah, that guy is an agent. Justice for Mazin Namikano. Now you must understand this. We must understand that when it has to do with nationhood, truth, and justice, nobody is held in that aspect of emotion where whatever they do is highly carried. It is only God that whatever he does, nobody can question. For God's sake, understand this. That's why I said go read Romans chapter 9. When you begin to put a human being in the position where whatever they do, you don't question them, one, you have derailed. Two, you have blasphemed against God. You know why? Because now you have made them God. It is only God that can sit in that position of doing everything, and everything he does is correct. Even in the transparency and accountability group, there are some things that I do. People say, no, this one, no, this one. Less people we correct each other or one another, because we are more than two. We correct one another. You know why? Because I may have an idea, but it might not sit well. But when we reason out everything, we now see that it sits well. But when anything, that doesn't mean that that thing is of truth, of lies, anyways. But that means that we need to reason out things together, because we are called to reason. Just like what God told Israel in the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 48. He said, "Come now and let us reason together." The Lord says, "Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool, as white as wool." There is a point of reasoning, and that is why we checkmate ourselves by consistently reasoning, collective reasoning. That's it. Ego, thank you. We must see the accountability and transparency. That's why it's called accountability, because the accountability is spelt on the transparency. How do you adjudge the transparency? The structure. The only way to supervise or to monitor the structure to see that it is consistently pure and correct is to continually remain accountable and consistently in that narrative. Man is no island, MNK, of course. That is why sometimes we point out some errors even MNK himself did. Because by giving somebody like Madame Oyibo all those stuff, those structures that were not set were the reason why we have so much problems today. One of the reasons. The structure has empowered some people like Chike Doziem, has even empowered somebody like Simon, because the people are running on the narrative of that no structure, no evidence structure. So with that, now they embrace Simon and made Simon all in all and made Simon a god. Today, Simon does wrong. They don't see anything wrong. They have now made him a god. And that is why everyone who is supporting Simon, promoting Simon and Azuka, and all the rogue members of their team carrying out this criminality against truth, or what truth represents in Biafra, they will also suffer the consequences of what comes upon people who fight against the truth. You can't run away from it. From Simon to the US members and all of all those people who are part of this evil. You will suffer the consequences. We must come to understand the basis and the reason for what we do. We must come to understand, and all of that. Somebody called me and was saying, you see, we need to get more people to view. People must view. That's why I see criticizing Simon. It's not good, because you see, viewers have reduced. People who are viewing formerly people are viewing very well. You see 100 and something, 80 something, and all of that. And 200, even at a point, it went to 200 and something viewing at once. And I laughed. I say, Mr. Man, I didn't come to look at views. I to look at who is viewing me. I didn't come to be popular. I came to be evidently, rightly positioned, dividing the word of truth rightly, so that people can find a path to popularity. The popularity is not about me. It's about the nation being popular. So Biafra's popularity is dependent on my sacrifice, not my seeking for popularity. So just like Simon tells you that he wants to be popular, the reason why Simon is doing what he's doing is because he said, I am looking for self. I want to be popular. Whenever somebody comes and anything they do, say, I want to be popular. I want to be one of those whose name is in the book. I want to be. Once you say that, you are only looking for self. That means you have come for selfish gains. But when you say, I want to correct the abnormality in the system, I want to be part of those who will help to see that my people are free. I want to see that I stay on the path of truth to help, support, and give a lending voice to the freedom of my people. Then you are now on the path of truth. Not I want to be popular. I want to be known as one of those who brought about Biafra. No, that is a wrong perspective. As soon as that was said, I saw it as a red flag. But anyways, we still have to continue. We still keep supporting. Maybe let's see what will happen with the 150 days. Ego says, by listening to other people's opinions and others got jealous of him because he is getting people in the grassroots involved. They just want to be demigod. They feel their business is threatened. Really. That's it, Ego. Thank you. Kunon says, Kano, Mazin Americano. would not have come down to Biafra land in the beginning to preach the freedom of Biafra if the so-called virtual tour was effective. That's it. Okay, bless MNK. Yes, if it was effective. If it was effective. Oh my God. Now, somebody comes to tell us about, and all we're doing is self. We just have to get out of that realm of self. Now, we're going to get more of this message regarding this particular narrative of why we are where we are, why we are struggling. Today, you see what is happening at Izombe and other places. Our people are being killed. You see what is happening in Lagos. Our people are being, you see, and I want to say this to our people. Why you are going through what you're going through today, why the zoo military begin to kill us, keep killing us, is because we have done wrong. And I will tell you how we have done wrong. I'm not saying because we have done wrong in the sense of the wrong, because we have not focused on what we should be doing. We have supported evil. And the more you keep supporting people like Simon and Simon, I saw accountability group here, and I want to mention, Kunon video just posted something now that I have to talk about. The more you keep supporting Simon and his rogue team, the more you keep supporting him, the more you are prolonging the concept of redemption or restoration. And the more you keep prolonging it, the more you are giving more room for killings in Biafra land, for destruction of our businesses, for the Black Lives Matters narrative in diaspora, for every evil we keep facing. The more we keep doing things to blackmail Biafra, the more we keep selling our birthright, the more we keep supporting evil, the evils of Simon, the evils of Chike Doziem and Co. The more we keep doing all of this stuff, the more we keep fighting those who are speaking the truth, the more we keep doing all of this stuff, the more we are prolonging Biafra. I tell you. And the more we are not going to get our freedom on time, the more we will keep suffering. Because the more you allow this narrative of Nigeria to continue, the more you will meet death, untimely death, starvation, poverty, and all of these evils. So if you think that's getting cover from all these narrative of selling the birthright, joining forces and believing in this narrative of because of your emotional disposition, inclination towards Simon, you love him so much that you don't want anything to go wrong. Everything he does is good, and you don't want to castigate him, or don't want to criticize him. The more you will keep suffering, the more you will keep suffering, and the more you keep suffering. So if you think that what you are doing is just you're just doing it for me or against me, when I speak the truth, you come against me. When any of us in the accountability and transparency group speak the truth, or any of us here who are speaking the truth, type in here, and all you can do is to come and shout down and talk down and abuse and insult. If you think you are doing us, you're just fooling yourself. You are just a big fool, compound fool, because you are delaying the freedom of Biafra by your action. You don't know? Because the more you keep promoting those whom you are looking up to do the right thing, and they keep doing the wrongs because you are helping them to do the wrongs by promoting them and supporting them and looking the other way when they do things wrong, the more you are delaying your freedom. I'm going to say this to end this program. And I want you to understand that. So as much as we are doing the teachings and exposing these facts and the reasons why we are where we are, we must understand also that our now action is connected to the reason why things like that happened to that young girl by Chief Akiri, and yet nobody said anything. We are still behaving like pre-colonial period when people are being unjustly dealt with. And of course, we remember the story of the colonial masters dealing and selling our people into slavery, supported and sponsored by the local people being used. And yet the whole congregation, the population sat and watched few people like Chief Akiri mess them up. Nobody did anything. And yet the story is that Chief Akiri was receiving praises, support. People believe that he is of the gods. The more we continue the narrative of supporting evil, the more we're not going to get our freedom, and the more you will suffer. In fact, if you think that the killings will not come to your family, get ready. If you think the killings will not come to you, get ready. Those of you supporting criminality, those of you going after criminality and supporting everything crime, just expect it. It's coming to you. What goes around comes around. Just expect it. Don't think you're going to go free. Just expect it. Just expect it. That's a Madu Abuchi and Co. Those e-frogs. Just expect it. By the time they come to your family, you think it's Zombe now. You think it's Zombe today. You think it's Lagos Alaba International. You're at Aspamda, at Ablado area, or towards Agric, Ojo Barracks. Of course, Aspamda is before the barracks. It's by the side of the barracks, Ojo Barracks. If you are there selling, you think that what's happening in Alaba does not concern you. What's happening at Ladipo does not concern you. Just get ready. The more you keep supporting Nigeria and continue the narrative of Nigeria by supporting criminals like Simon and others, just expect it. It's coming to you. The Biafra's restoration will be delayed. Don't come and join forces with people who are speaking the truth and let's put our hands together and get ourselves free. Don't do it. Sit down there and keep, all you do is jump here, e-frog, become an e-frog, jump here and there, and all you want to do is to see that anything that has to do with Simon, you must make sure that you support it anywhere. Just continue. And you think you're doing me? You're not doing me. You are doing your generation. Nnamdi Kanu said he will lead the battle from the front in Biafra land, not through virtual tour. Thank you so much, View, for that. Not through visual tour. Look at this guy sits in Finland and tell people about visual tour. And the people too don't understand the story. They now started spreading it. That he's traveling here, he went to America. He went to America, he didn't go to sit down in that house, that so-called place he has acquired, and come to that building and put the flag in front there, and then set the flag in that compound and set in that office, sit down there and give his public broadcast from the so-called headquarters. And you are there as an e-frog, jumping around, talking rubbish, fooling yourself. Accountability and Transparency Group, ATG, shall account for every penny of resources you put in. Of course, money is needed. We are going to work, and we're going to work with resources. We need money. So definitely, we are going to work, and we're going to put our monies. Everybody is involved, no matter how much. We have the program, and the mandate is to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and restore Biafra. Two mission statements. Or one mission statement, two tasks. One mission statement, two tasks. Two tasks. Release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, restore Biafra. We will invest in it. We will do everything in it. We're not going around and all we do. Like there's one e-frog that went on a ground when Simon was doing all of these shenanigans, and then Simon and Co went to bribe him to wake up, called Biafra Unite, and then he comes up and he's talking. And I hear that they say he's an elder, also a deacon in a church. I don't understand where all these e-frogs come from, all these idiots. And he's coming to talk on social media, and we don't see his face. See my face here. Before I started broadcasting for Biafra stuff, he has been broadcasting. But yet, up to date, nobody can see his face. Nobody knows his face. I am here. I have told people, stop talking about these idiots. Stop giving them credence. If he wants to talk, if he wants to do anything, if he knows he's intellectually sound, which I know he is not. If you listen to his broadcast and everything he does, all he wants to do, he wants to talk like one in authority, but having no head. He has no head. If you want to speak and let me respond to you and talk to you, come, show your face. Show your face. I've said it several times. From the first day that Biafra Unite appeared and he made that statement, all those rubbish he made, I said it, please don't take him seriously. If he wants us to take him seriously, let him show his face. Their master, Simon, cannot even stand to discuss with me. He can't, because he doesn't have the intellectual capacity to do so. You observe when he discussed with Dr. Damage, in his program one time, last year or so, that Dr. Damages, whether in January or last December or so, I can't remember. He had to go and take some stuff to make himself high. If you observe him there, he was very high. And he was just talking out of point. Somebody is talking and he's saying, if you speak accent, if you don't speak Yoruba accent or something, I'll not listen to you. Does it make sense? Allow the guy make his point and then defend him. I was just looking at that stuff. I said, oh, why? But anyways, we just kept quiet then because we just wanted, all we were looking forward to is the 150 days to end so that we can see whether we're going to end Biafra. We're going to end Nigeria and get Biafra. So we were just looking away from all of this stuff. These were red flags, signs of hypocrisy. If someone wants to speak, you see, he cannot speak. He cannot come to defend anything I say. or to speak about anything. You know why? Not because people say you're not important. No, that's not it. he is the one who is not important. I am very important, much important than he, because he stands for lies. I stand for truth. If he wants to stand for truth, let him come and say anything. He can. Now look at the same person who has always told you that he has evidences to everything. He has not given you evidences to prove that we are criminals, and as he has called us and all of that. He has not given evidences. He keeps telling you Bruce Wayne is a criminal. He has not shown you the evidence. He keeps saying Kelechi is a criminal. Emeka Livingstone is a criminal. Madazawan is a criminal. Everybody, everyone, if you're Biko, everybody who's standing for truth, they are criminals. He keeps calling everybody criminal. But yet, he cannot. But all this while, he had evidences for Chike Doziem and Co. For Ejiofor and Co. But he doesn't have evidence to prove to you. And you think something is not wrong with you? That this man who tells you that he will always show you evidences for everything, he's not giving you evidence against some people. And you don't think that something is wrong? Because his people are gradually awakening. You all keep up the good work, the brother. Everyone do your part. Thank you so much. We all will do our part. Literally, the low turnout for Simon Ekpa's fundraising is another evidence that many Biafrans have left him and no longer believe his lies. That's it. That's it. So if you don't know that, let's give you evidences. And of course, we don't even need to prove to you. We don't even need to say it for it to happen. It's already happening. He went nowhere. Lie. It's their authoritative way of talking that gets me laughing. You know, they want to talk as I bring you the words from, like Biafra Unite will do, just to make you, you know, and those ones who are dazed, who are fools, to the wow, see the way he's talking. Wow, this is it. They want to just give you a kind of narrative because they know the tone of your voice too will have a way of dragging people to you. You know, it is psychological. You know, putting up defense mechanism because they don't have what it takes. And they're all, the other day I was watching Ralph Ajere, it was just, it was so childish. So unfortunate anyways, but they are not our topic. They are only people we mentioned along the line so that you can see, you can help your eyes to open to see the errors going on, you know, and all of that. You know, that's why he's always making no intellectual analysis. Yes, he cannot make intellectual analysis. The only thing he can do is to go and get an amalgamation document or get one video or somewhere or get documents about Ejiofor and speak. That's all. He cannot come and give narrative effectively to teach the people. No, he cannot. They don't have what it takes. Can they teach? No, they can't. They only get things that have happened and talk about them. That's what they can do. That's all they can do. He never talked about the currency issue because he will bust them all. Of course, now, if we have not talked about this currency thing, if I have not exposed this currency thing and my group take it up and we said we stood on ground and said this will not happen, you would have discovered that this currency thing would have been one of those things they would have opened up recently, just like they were doing the issue of the ID cards and all of that. The currency thing would have been one of it, but they didn't because they cannot. If they do it, they will open. He has to come and explain what happened initially, so he won't do that. But he has come up with the code of conduct that we created, the pledge that we created. He has published it without Mazin Namdekan's consent. He knows he cannot publish constitution because he knows how that one is heavy. You know, so if he has his way, he will do that. But he's still observing and watching. And he's still observing and watching. Very soon, I know they have been now, I can assure you, I know them very well. I was in that committee, that so-called committee, advisory board, when people who don't have brains want to advise. I was in that board. I can bet you now that they are discussing how, they will tell themselves, I know them very well. I know all of them very well. In fact, they will say, now we have talked about them. We have brought the ID card, but currency is one of the issues. You know, to make ourselves a government, we need to talk about this currency. And some of them will be saying, you know, see now this currency thing they use the other time, make we first observe. Let's be observant. They are trying to observe, and this constitution thing, we need to bring constitution, but they are observing. They are looking for an opportunity to bring these things out, and we're waiting for them. And they know that currency is not easy because it will involve these ones. They can always brag about others because it's about printing some stuff and calling it ID card or whatever. But they cannot bring currency because you have to print the currency. So they'll be thinking, if we print the currency now, people reject it. Makiv Media, thank you so much. I want to thank you all. I've just shooted the time, 2 hours, 26 minutes. I want to end it here. Tomorrow is going to be wonderful because I'm going to go more further into the analysis of that video, and at the same time give you more to understand why we're going through what we're going through. And I want to make you understand that in spite you see, nobody can stop Biafra. You see this Biafra mandate? You see this Biafra project? Whatever they call it, whether they call it Biafra Liberation Army or whatever army that they are using to destabilize ESN, they can. That's just the truth. Biafra will come. And so delay it, but Biafra will come. Just watch it. And it will come in truth, and transparency. Which Mazin Abdulkano will come and lead into freedom. That's why we don't have a leader. We know Mazin Abdulkano is a leader. We don't have somebody who is there saying, I'm the leader. No, we have a leader already, Mazin Abdulkano. All we are there to do is collective reasoning, collective responsibility to bring out the best for our nation. That's what we're there to do. You know, we had a delay in some stuff that's why we have not come out to launch the body. But I want to tell you that we're coming out soon. Please, for those of you who are in Zambia and other places, be careful. Be very, very careful. All these things happening is because we are very careless. We refuse to do the right thing. That is why we'll keep suffering these things. We'll keep having these things come upon us. If you want these things to end, you must come now, rally around. Let's come together as reasonable people and get our freedom and plan together and get our freedom. If you keep dancing around Simon, they'll keep killing you like that. All this is happening in Lagos. They tell you support Biafra. You say you want to support election, and you think it's not going to backfire. Of course, it's going to backfire. Are we happy about it? No, we are not happy about it. But are we going to come and start consoling you? No, we will not console you because you brought it upon yourself. So we are sad. We're not happy that it's happening. But the truth about it is that let it be a lesson to you. Come join forces and let's get ourselves free. Now, the big question here is, why is it that people prefer to stay under slavery rather than to be free? That's the big question. Why would I see something? I don't want it because it will take me to teaching again. Let me stop here. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. There's something I want to say. I'll say it tomorrow. Very, very deep. We're going to go into that. We're going to go into that tomorrow. Prime Minister with cabinet photo ministers. Thank you so much. Makiv Media, thank you. Masglitch, you are doing great. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I appreciate you all. Biafra warriors and fighters, I appreciate you guys. You're doing great. Doing wonderfully well. Let's focus on the mandate. As much as we point out the evils, let's not dwell on the evils. Let's dwell on making the people understand where we're going. And I want you to know that every one of you, you must be strong and of good courage. That's it. Because the days ahead are tough, but we must stand strong. And the only way we can stand strong is to come together to carry out what we need to carry out. Association of Dishonorables. I like that. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of the week. Tomorrow we're going to be here. I think it should be maybe 4 p.m. Biafra time. Hopefully I should be back on time. And then we're going to carry out the actions and discuss further. Remember, I said I was going to discuss something deeper into all of this. So that I'll give you some, don't worry, tomorrow it's going to be powerful. It's going to be powerful. You see that the topics change, but they are all in the same narrative. So this is continuation of other topics. So go back and listen to others. Please share this broadcast on all your social media platforms and also get people to be part of it. Share it. It is your responsibility to share the truth all around and let people be part of it. I appreciate you all. I love you all. And we'll get Biafra in truth and in spirit. And Biafra will come by Chukwokeke alone. He alone would bring Biafra to learn life. And that's what we stand for. I appreciate you. Don't support criminality. Don't fund criminality, or else you'll face the consequences of all of that. The blood of Biafrans will be upon you. Don't fund criminality. don't support criminality. These two basic things can destroy your whole life and your generation. For the fact that nothing is happening to you now, don't think nothing is going to happen. Don't fund criminality. Don't support criminality. Don't hail them, what they are doing, and don't fund them. Or else, if you continue to be an e-frog, just get ready to suffer the consequences of your action. If you allow your emotion to becloud your reasoning, just know that you're going to get into trouble. I'm going to explain more about the emotion, the mind, the sound mind, and all of that. More to come. As we do. Thank you so much, Conan View, and thank you also for your good work, for what you're doing. And of course, bring in the briefs of the broadcast later to the people. We want the segment of these programs to be cut. Those short clips, you cut them and you forward them to the people, and you give them to the people. Let the people get the information. Very, very important. Very, very important. Thank you so much, Comrade Ken. Thank you. Wow, I understand you're still here. Thank you so much. Ezioko Bundo. Thank you so much. Accountability and transparency. Thank you, Ego. Thank you. Ezioko Bundo. That's it. Truth is life, and life is truth. And that was what we stand for. I appreciate you guys. It's a long time we did open the line for calls. I'm going to try to see how we're going to be doing that for those who want to call in, want to call in and all of that. I don't know what's happening, to the Wi-Fi. And thank God today it didn't cut me off and bring me in again and cut me off and all of that. I still one broadcast and it's 2 hours plus today, and we're still here. Maybe because it's daytime, towards the evening, they think begin to go haywire. I don't know. But I thank God. And today I was able to edit the stuff. And so that is why I could use the old link where people can join and link. So we have about four streaming points now from Biafra Warriors and Fighters streaming all the way on their channels. Thank you all. I appreciate you. Please stay safe. Support the truth. Let's come together under the auspices of accountability and transparency. We are accountable. The structure is transparent. So that is why we're there. And we are watchers. I told you, we watch over what Mazen Nambikano, God has committed unto him. You are watchers. So that's why we're doing what you're doing. Rather do Twitter space. Tomorrow, Twitter space. Well, let me see. Twitter space. Okay, let's see how it goes. Maybe we're going to, tomorrow's program will be on Twitter space, maybe. Okay, let's make it 4 p.m. Biafra time, Twitter space. I think people will be able to be wherever they are and they are talking, doing what they are doing without watching the video, and Twitter space can go. I think maybe tomorrow we're going to, but Twitter space will not allow me to speak the things, and to say the things I need to say under this teaching. We prefer uninterrupted preaching in this platform. Okay. Twitter space will not afford me. Twitter space will be a question answer period. Okay, what we're going to do is I think on Sundays, maybe next week Sunday, we're going to have the Twitter space, and we'll make sure that it will be consistent now every Sunday, and for us to do that so that we can have that Twitter space always, and we talk. We talk and then we ask questions. So the questions will be on Twitter space. We're going to have that for now. And, yes, we can do Twitter space next week Sunday. Yeah, 4 p.m. Biafra time. We're going to be on Twitter, or 5 p.m. Biafra time. We're going to be on Twitter space. And 5 p.m. Biafra time, just for 2 hours. 4 p.m. Biafra time or 5 p.m. Biafra time. Because I still want to broadcast. So if I want to broadcast, it's going to be earlier before the Twitter space. So 4 p.m. Biafra time, we're going to be here, on Twitter space on Sunday. Not here, on Twitter space on Sunday. So please prepare. Right now, we're broadcasting live on Twitter. Also, Kelechi Ambrose, you see the broadcast there. With Biafra Warriors and Fighters platform, we're broadcasting, and so many other like J-Boys platform and other people who are streaming live there. Also, Biafra Pride streaming live. I think who else is streaming live? I don't know. I think I have 4 streaming live here now. And I want to encourage other people. You can also stream live. If you want to stream live, I can send you the link. Stream live. So that the truth can go forth and forth and forth, and people can hear it at the same time. There's these teachings. These teachings are very, very important and fundamental for where we are going. Unless we begin to know the truth, it will not be made free. We need to know the truth to be made free. So please, let's get ready. Comrade Ken says accountability and transparency group first, or the truth, the way, the light. Is the truth the way, the light? Represents the truth the way, the light. Yes. Accountability represents the truth. Let's not say is the truth, because Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. So we'll say accountability represents the truth, the way, and the light. It represents the way, the truth, and the life, or the light. So we are here representing that. And I want you to please understand you have to begin to come. Remember, Mazi Nnamdi is our target. We have a program to get him released. Come with your resources. Every penny will be accounted for. We have a structure, a transparent structure that will make everything accountable. So join and be part of it. Join and be part of it. We want to have you to be part of it. Thank you all. I appreciate you for your messages, those who have sent messages, those who have not sent, who are just watching. We know we have few people watching, but we know the message will go far and wide. People watch later, you know, and the truth will continue to go far and far all over the nations of the world. I love you all. God bless you. Really good. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.